Hello, and welcome to Jason Cavness Experience. I'm your host, Jason Cavness. The Jason Cavness Experience is sponsored by CLS Labs. CLS Labs specializes in delivering Internet of Things, AI, and machine learning to streamline your operations and to drive innovations. They can save you up to 70% on development costs and 32% on time by using CLS Labs. The Jason Cavness Experience is also brought to you by 8-Bit Content. 8-Bit Content is a content marketing agency that specializes in boosting awareness and leads for its partners' business. If you're a small business owner or startup founder looking to grow your online viability through website optimization and content, 8-Bit Content is here to help. Whether you need support for your in-house marketing or want to outsource everything to trusted partners, they have you covered. As a listener of the Jason Cavness Experience podcast, you can receive a free site audit to help you identify any opportunities. Simply email will@8bitcontent.com. Our guest today is Mark Schreiner. Thanks for being here, Mark.
Hey, thank you, Jason.
So, Mark, I always try to start with like a kind of a softball question. So,
Please.
how do you take care of yourself, either mentally, physically, spiritually, like anything you want to talk about?
Well, I think all three of those are really important, and I start with my morning thing, and I don't do anything in the morning until I take care of myself physically, which means I get up, I do some morning calisthenics, I stretch, and I drink a ton of water. And I find if I do that, and it's not an if, I do it Monday through Friday without fail. It's just a great way to start the day. I then hop into the shower, and I end my shower. Maybe this is a little bit too much information, but I end my shower with a minute or so, or a couple minutes of cold, super cold, and that just wakes me up, and I'm ready to go.
You know, I've tried to do a cold shower things every once in a while. I do it and I stop. And I hear the health benefits and stuff, but a voice in my mind says, Jason,
It's gonna be cold.
that and like, Jason, anyone 100 years before now would have died to have a hot shower, right?
Right.
So why not take advantage of it, right?
Oh, fair enough. No, I read that book. I actually listened to the book from the Iceman, Wim Hof,
Mhm.
and he explains all the benefits, but he also explains the process to get yourself adapted to it, and just start off with 5 seconds, and then go on to 10, and then 15, and then after a couple months, you're up to doing like 2 minutes, and
Mhm.
you get out of there, and it's like you don't need a cup of coffee. You're awake after that.
Do you do cold plunges?
I would love to do cold plunges. I've done them. I would love to make it part of my daily routine. I just can't convince the wife that that's a good investment of like $3,000 or $4,000.
Okay. Yeah, this costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so how long have you been doing this, like this morning routine?
Oh, 3 or 4 years. I mean, I've always done something, but I have this like total dialed in thing, so I don't even have to think about what I'm going to do, because that's part of it. If you get up and think like, oh, I think I should exercise, what's it going to be? Sometimes you can just kind of get distracted. I've got my routine dialed in, and it consists of push-ups, bodyweight push-ups, bodyweight squats, stretching, specific stretching routines, and drinking a lot of water, like I said. So I don't have to, I just put on the same couple songs every morning, and something in my brain just clicks, and I'm like, okay, in the mode, and 20-minute. No matter what else I've done throughout the day, I've already done that baseline workout and stretching. Now, of course, later on in the day, I try to do some exercise as well.
When you start this routine, because you said 3 or 4 years ago, well, you're like, was your health at risk or something? You just like,
Like I said, I've always done something, but I didn't really formalize it because until then. And the reason I formalized it is because I was getting distracted. Like, oh, what should I do today? Well, maybe I'll do it later. Maybe I'll do this. And I said, you know what? I want to start every day with something, so that even if I don't have a chance to exercise later in the day, I don't have a chance to stretch, it doesn't matter. I've already done it, right? So the whole thing about take care of yourself first, invest in yourself first, and then do that. I don't know about you, but like, if you go a couple days without stretching or exercising or eating bad food, do you feel the difference?
I mean, with me, I'm the opposite. My thing is, if I go a couple of days with stretching, I have to get better at that, right? I mean, like, yeah, it's you need it, especially if you get older, right? Stretching and stuff like that. I suck at that. Like, I wake in the morning, you're supposed to like wake up, meditate, all this stuff, I wake up, go on the phone and start working,
Yeah, I know. That's what everybody's having to do, and they say that's the worst thing to do. But here's the other thing I believe in. I believe that everybody's got to figure out what works for them.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to tell you mine's going to work for you.
Yeah.
We could have different metabolisms, different kind of physiologies, everything, right? So, but we all spend a lot of time sitting in desks, right?
Yeah.
And so the sitting in desk is probably the worst possible thing for you.
Yeah.
And so that stretching helps.
That's one thing I think I do good at. Like at least once I'll get up, I'll walk downstairs, walk a couple blocks, and come back up here. At least I think I do a good job at it.
Does that help you clear your mind? And
Yeah,
yeah, no, I highly recommend it. Yeah.
yeah. So you're a big sailor too, right?
I love sailing. I love being on the water. It doesn't matter what I'm doing on the water. I love being on the water. But I have a small sailboat, and I enjoy spending time on it.
And how long you been doing this?
I started sailing when I was in my early 20s, and this is my third boat. It sounds like, oh, you got a boat. No, it's a small boat. It's a humble boat. But I just love the freedom out there, and it's just nature, right? It's just the wind, the water, maybe some music, or just maybe a beer or two. But in this area here, when the weather's nice, like today, I mean, you got to admit, like the Seattle area, when the weather's nice, it's beautiful, right? Go up to the San Juans. Have you been up to San Juans?
Yeah, it's very beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah,
when it's nice, it's nice.
when it's nice, nice.
But when it's not, it's goddamn not.
It's cold, dark, and wet in the wintertime. But that's the time when you got to go skiing or head south to
Yeah.
Mexico or something.
So is it true what they say about owning a boat? You first own a boat to throw money away.
Yeah, they say, what do they say? It's a hole in the water where you throw money.
Yeah.
And you've heard the other one where, second happiest day of a boat owner is life is when they buy the boat. But the happiest day is when
Yeah.
they sell it.
I've heard that too. Yeah, I've heard that too. So is selling is it like addictive, like any other dopamine thing?
For me, it is. It comes back to what you talked about a little bit about the mental, spiritual, physical, because it's a combination of all. Sailing's like you're on the water and you're constantly trying to solve for how can we optimize our sailing based upon the winds, the currents, everything like that. There's a lot of stuff going on, especially up in the San Juan here, because we have a lot of currents, a lot of microclimates. So you're dealing with these mental things. There's also the physical world that you're sailing through, but it's also just beautiful.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you've ever tried surfing or anything like that. Have you?
Yeah, I have a story for you when you finish yours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, surfing, like if you've ever caught a wave, it's amazing. It's hard, but when you get up and all of a sudden, because it's just nature taking you, and you're like, wow, this is awesome. What's your story?
So a year ago, I went to visit some friends of mine. They live in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, right? And so one day they took me, I think something called boogie boarding, right? Like, man, I can't do this boogie boarding thing. Like, they said, no, come on, let's try it out. So I tried it out. First 3 or 4 times, man, I can't do it. The 5th time, I kind of hang it right. 6, 7 times, okay, I got hang it right. The 8th time on the boogie board, this big ass wave comes, knocks the board out, and somehow the board does a 360 and pokes me on the ribs, and I ended up having cracked ribs.
Oh man.
Yeah. And what's even worse, the next day I had to fly back to Seattle.
Oh.
Yeah, so not a good time. Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
The reason that I don't surf or boogie board is because I'm afraid of sharks, man. When you're on a sailboat, you don't have to worry about the sharks. Well, they're really big ones like in Jaws.
Yeah. So what's the farthest you've gone as far as like maybe distance or days?
Oh, I've just all been here up in the San Juans. We when we lived in Singapore, we chartered a catamaran in Thailand for 10 days. My wife and our 3 boys, and that was fun because every day we went to different anchorage and stuff like that. So that's probably technically the farthest or longest trip I've had. But I'm planning for something bigger.
That's coming up pretty soon.
Well, if things work out, if the stars align, as they say, I'm going to take off late summer, early fall, and go out through the straits of Juan de Fuca, go out to Nia Bay and a little bit farther, and then hang that big long left and head down the coast.
So I know people do that all the time, or maybe not all the time, but some people do. Do you have to get permission from the Coast Guard, or you have to put in some kind of paperwork? You just get on a boat and start sailing, and you're on your own.
You pretty much just get on the boat and go. Now, there's some rules. Obviously, your boat should be licensed in the state
Yeah.
that you have the boat. You should have the proper safety equipment, a VHF radio, and things like that. But really, boating is kind of the final frontier. I think these days you need to get, if you're boating in the U.S., you need to get a boater safety card, which I have. But really, you can just go, which is kind of cool because it's like it's your decision.
It's totally random and probably never happened. But suppose somebody's on a sailboat, they're sailing, and then like all of a sudden they're in the middle of like a USA Navy war exercise, right?
It's like all these scenarios that I'm like, oh, I didn't think about that one. I gotta be careful. So that's probably not where you want to be.
No.
But the Navy and the Coast Guard, they're pretty good at letting you know these are the areas that you shouldn't enter, and some of those areas are like seasonal or periodic,
Mhm.
and they'll be like, hey, we're gonna have like live fire practice, and you probably shouldn't go there. And I know
Yeah.
most people are like they pay attention to that stuff. Like islands in Hawaii, I think it's called Lave. That used to they do live fire there. I don't know if they still do. And there are areas up even in the Puget Sound
Mm.
where sometimes they'll say like this is off limits.
Yeah, because people don't realize. I think people don't realize, forget like how much of a military, especially U.S. Navy, has in this area, right?
Oh yeah.
Like nuclear, we have nuclear subs in
The Trident,
Bremerton.
the
Yeah,
Trident submarines. Yeah.
yeah. People don't forget that. And off another subject, like people don't realize like if nuclear war happens with Russia,
We're a target.
we're
A
done.
target.
We're done. Like we're probably
we got Microsoft, we got Boeing, we got Bremerton, Whidbey Island.
McFord. Yeah, I mean everyone knows it, right? Especially our enemies, right? Yeah, we're toast. Yeah, we're not. Yeah,
Well,
we're
that's
not,
a good time to be on a small sailboat out in the middle of
exactly. Yeah. So how do you like calculate like your fuel, your food you need, like all that kind of stuff? Is there a formula you came up with? You just follow someone else's lead?
I just so a couple things. I read a lot and I listen to or watch a lot of videos of people who do long distance sailing in order for me to plan for this trip that I'm going to do. And I've been doing this for years, maybe 20 years. I've been reading all their books but this last year or so has been super intensive. So you kind of have a rough idea, and you build in redundancies. So I figure out like how much food and water I'll need on a daily basis, and basically I double it
Mhm.
because if worst case scenario and you're stuck out there. These days though, it's much more safe than it used to be in terms of it's easier to communicate your position,
Yeah.
your situation. I mean, love him or hate him. Elon Musk, he has this thing called Starlink.
Yeah. Yeah.
This little dish on your boat, and you've got Wi-Fi
Yeah.
out in the middle of the Pacific.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
You gonna do anything crazy like jump in the water, swim around the boat while you're out there by yourself?
Again, I told you I'm afraid of sharks.
Oh yeah, that's right. You do say that. Okay, cool. Yeah.
I need, if the conditions are right, I'd absolutely do something like that.
Yeah.
It also depends, like if you're sailing alone, solo, or with you've got other crew members.
Mm.
If you're sailing solo, the worst thing that could possibly happen, except for getting run over by a freighter, would be to fall off the boat.
Yeah.
And the boat just sails off into the distance.
Man, that would not be a good day.
With all those meals that you carefully planned for.
That would not be a good day. And so, what's the goal for doing this trip? Just is like something on your bucket list, something you want to do all your life, or like what's the purpose? Yeah, I mean, if there is a purpose.
Again, one is I just really enjoy being on the water. Two, I think there's that kind of challenge element. It's like, why does somebody decide they want to climb Everest, for example? I want to challenge myself. Part of the journey, I do want to go solo because I want to see. I want to take on that challenge of being out in the ocean by myself and doing that. But also, I also enjoy some solo time.
Mm.
And I don't think you can get any more alone or solo time-ish than being out again in the Pacific or any other ocean by yourself.
And how long have you been planning to do this?
So I started fantasizing about it since the early 20s, and that's when I started reading a lot. And again, I've owned a couple boats, but like serious planning about a year now.
So, what's something obviously like you have a small boat, you can't take all the luxuries with you. What's something that you're gonna have to leave behind that you're gonna like, man, I wish I could bring this, but I know I can't.
That's interesting. So let me start to answer that question, and hopefully the answer will spring into my mind because I spent from January to April last year in an Airbnb in Croatia and in Montenegro with some travel to Budapest, and I was completely by myself. And for 3.5 months, all I had was one small suitcase, a carry-on suitcase, and my backpack with laptop stuff like that. And I was very content, and I didn't miss anything, And I think that's part of the thing that attracts me to being on a boat is you're limited to. You don't need a bunch of material possessions. It's all kind of self-contained. I guess I'm going to be taking my old Brompton bike.
Mm.
I guess if I could have a bigger bike on the boat, but I don't know, man. Like, what about you? Like, what's the thing? Like when you're traveling, what's the thing that you miss having access to?
I think mine's gonna be pretty much like yours. So I just left Vietnam for 9 days. A little small studio apartment. Had a TV, so I barely watched, but I don't know. It's just like when I was in Vietnam, I drank my coffee, watermelon juice. There's really nothing I really miss per se, right? Yeah, I just can't think of nothing like, yeah.
There's a saying, things are in the saddle and they drive mankind. And it's like, I've gone through all phases of wanting to have stuff and having 3 cars and then living in Japan and having no car. And I kind of enjoy not having stuff, if that makes any sense. Tell Tell me about Vietnam. You were in Ho Chi Minh City, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, before that, let me ask you a quick question.
Sure.
So, how long were you in Montenegro?
I was in Montenegro for about 6 weeks.
Okay, so,
In
in,
a, in a, listen to this. This brand new, immaculate Airbnb studio kind of apartment on the fourth or fifth floor of this building, on top of a hill that looked out at the Adriatic, and it was, the Adriatic Sea, and it's just beautiful. And then over this way had the mountains, and because it was off season, I was paying like less than 25 euros a day. It was amazing. And then I could walk down the hill in the morning, go to the cafe, get my coffee, work for 2 or 3 hours, walk back up, have my lunch, maybe do some more work, and then I would go walk along beautiful walking paths along the ocean, or the sea, and I could walk for 2 or 3 hours listening to audiobooks, and it was just this kind of like rejuvenating time, and I loved it, and no possessions.
so when I was in Vietnam, I met a lot of people. So I met this couple, Michael, he's from France, and his girlfriend, Alexander's from Russia, right? They've been together like 5-10 years. And we're talking about traveling, we both did traveling. I said, what's your favorite place you've been to? And they said Montenegro. I was like, first of all, what the fuck is that? Because like, I've heard it before, I didn't realize.
I've seen it in James Bond movies.
Yeah. And basically, they gave the same answer you did. Like, they just said it's like the best kept secret ever.
Yeah, and there are a lot of Russians there because it's easy for Russians to immigrate there, and they use that as a kind of a stepping stone to immigrate later to
Yeah.
other countries, either in Europe or in the Americas. But it's I mean, if you know where Croatia is,
Yeah.
it's right.
Did it used to be part of Yugoslavia?
It did.
Okay.
So I'm kind of the whole Balkans used to be kind of all.
It was all Yugoslavia. Then that dictator Tito died, and it's all like split up in all these different countries.
Yeah, and then there was the like in the 90s.
Yeah, that's Serb war, where you want to call it, Kosovo War. Yeah.
Yes. And Montenegro was they didn't take from the people I spoke there they said they didn't have a lot of action, but they did see some.
Okay. And so in your bio it says that you love reading. Any certain books you like to read? Like you're an avid reader, one book a day, or you read for pleasure, education?
I'm kind of like obsessive, like I get into something like sailing, and then I'll just get everything. And for Christmas, my kids all got me sailing books, and I'll listen to books and stuff. And so I'll go down like a rabbit hole of something, and then just go after that. And then if I read a lot related to my job, work, anything that's going to help me there, and then sometimes I just like reading pure fiction because it helps me escape. So when I was in Montenegro, for example, I read the Count of Monte Cristo twice, which I don't know if you've ever read Count of Monte Cristo or if you've seen this. It's 1,300 pages. It's a big book, and but I love that ability to just escape. Yeah.
So do you read like one book at a time till you finish, or you want people like have 10 books, you're reading 10 different books at all the same time?
I can do like 2 at a time. I can't do more than that.
Yeah, I think I have to read one book. The one thing with me, I'm kind of like obsessive. If I read a book, I have to like one setting, right? As few as I can, right?
Do you ever listen to Tim Ferriss at all?
Yeah.
So he gave some advice, and actually one of the books I read in Montenegro was his Tools of the Titan.
I actually have that book right over here.
Highly recommend.
Yeah, I have that book right there.
Yeah, that's awesome. I listened to the audiobook and while I was on my strolls along the beach. But one of the pieces of advice that he gave is like, if you're starting to read a book and you're not liking it, life's too short. Don't force yourself.
I remember that advice, yeah. But me, I'm like, okay, I started it. I got to, maybe it get better later on the road. But me, it drives me batshit crazy because I know a lot of people that will have like reading 10 books at the same time. Like, how are you doing this? Like, you'll never finish.
So there's another great guy that is also good friends with Tim Ferriss, Raval Navikant, and super successful business person, Silicon Valley business person, and VC. I think he created AngelList after he exited his like third or fourth company. But he's that way. He'll read 10 books at a time, and he'll say, sometimes I'll pick up a book and I'll start on chapter 5, and then I'll read chapter 3, and then I'll go to chapter 7, and I'm like, what? I need a little more structure,
Yeah. So you want to do a drink real fast?
Yeah.
Which one you want to do?
Twist my arm.
You can pick.
What's your recommendation?
It's you can pick whichever. Is that one you haven't tried yet?
What's this blade? What's this?
Bait and blow, yeah. Yeah. Let's try this one.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Try one you haven't tried before.
You gonna have some?
Yeah.
You need glass?
This one right here.
Let me win.
That's good. That'd be wouldn't that be messed up if I didn't drink while I'm here drinking the guest drunk as fuck. I'm not so.
The etiquette for.
Yeah. Cheers. Thanks. And so you're also an avid learner. So talk about the importance of learning. And second part of the question, is learning and being curious two different things, or are they kind of the same thing?
I think curiosity drives learning, but you can be curious and then do nothing about it, right? So, in my opinion, right? But I think being a curious person is going to help you, especially if you act upon that curiosity. And then learning means you go out and try to find stuff out, and then hopefully absorb some of that information, take some lessons away, assimilate that, and then get smarter in the process. Learning, as you get older, I feel like people become, I won't say averse to learning. It's just kind of like, it makes you uncomfortable when you go in to do something as a beginner, right? Like sailing, right? I'm sailing with these people that they've sailed every day forever, and I'm the newbie in the marina. You have to get comfortable being that, just, the new person and asking a lot of questions. I'm doing a lot of work on the boat right now, and I go around and ask people, like, how do I do this? How do I do this? And I don't care that I'm my age and have to ask questions. And it comes with, I'm running a startup right now. I ask a lot of questions. It doesn't matter, but I think that for some people, even for me, in the beginning, it's always uncomfortable. Like if I was going to go take dance lessons, I would be the worst person in the class, right? But you have to work through that because there's a reward towards the end. But also, I think you need to embrace that uncomfortableness, that beginner. I don't know if you ever done any martial arts. Have you done any?
Yeah, that's another. I'll tell you that story after you finish yours. Yeah.
So there's different. I've done a lot of Japanese martial arts, and there's something called the beginner's mind, and you have to go into a situation with your glass empty, not full, with your mind empty and absorb. But it's uncomfortable. But the reward, the payoff after you get through that uncomfortableness is that you get smarter and you enjoy life more.
So. And when I was in Vietnam, I was doing an in-person podcast. One of my guests was a guy named Zach Crush, is a former U.S. Army officer. Mm-hmm. He's over there now living, and he runs like a real big grappling MMA Muay Thai community, right? Yeah. He sets up all these fights and stuff, right? And so in the podcast, he's talking. After I say, no, I always want to do Muay Thai. Have you say right? Yeah. Hey man, I'm giving a class 2 days from now. You should come by. It's beginner class, no problem, right? So I go there, like beginner, first time you're doing it, right? And they match me up with your partners with this 14-year-old girl, right? Rose like 5 foot, 400 pounds, right? And it was crazy. Even though I thought I was not really doing the strenuous, I ended up pulling my back muscle. Yeah, and it gets worse or better with your point of view. So somehow, I'm purposely kind of like taking it easy, right? Yeah. But somehow I pulled back my back muscle, which caused my spine to press against my nerve. So I go to the hospital over there, right? Yeah, but I definitely want to do it again though. It was a good time. When I was there, this guy named Michael Harbrand. You know a guy named Michael Harbrand? Hold on, let me pull him up. He's this real big. Suppose he's this real big. Do I have him here somewhere? Yeah. Hold on. But this guy went over there and gave a class. He's supposed to be a pretty big deal. I can find his name. Yeah, I don't have it. I'll send it to you later. But he's supposed to be a really big deal. And so people are like saying, I was telling people this is my first time being like involved. Like, man, what a day to do your first class. It's like this like well-known legend, whatever,
Well, I just, hats off to you for trying something new at, our age to go out and do that. There's not a lot of people. Well, there are some people, but a lot of people, are averse to that. Put themselves in an uncomfortable situation where they're the beginner.
Yeah. So back to curiosity. Why do you think society does such a bad job of why do we always take curiosity away from kids, right? Like I think by the time a kid is 13, 14, the junior high peer stuff takes over, society takes over, and then you lose our curiosity.
every single parent out there, but in general, you want your kids to kind of be successful. So they have to kind of follow the quote unquote formula, right, for success. And the formula is you go to school, you get good grades, and you go to good school, and then you get into a good college, and then you study a major, you pursue a major that's going to have some kind of potential reward or payoff down the road, and then you get that good job, and it's like that's kind of like the formula, right? And there's a lot of people that are kind of, I think that don't, that's not who they are and what they really want deep down inside. Maybe they don't even know what they want, but their parents and the school and society tells them this is what you need to do. And after years and years and years, people are like, well, I'm just going to go and I'm going to get hate on this, but I'm just going to go get the MBA because that's what everybody said I need to do, right? And for some people, they really, really want that MBA, but a lot of people, they're just doing it because that's what the formula is,
Yeah.
right? And then I think from the educator's point of view, they're told this is the curriculum and you have to teach all kids. To me, it's kind of insane that you take 30, it used to be 30, now it's like 20 kids in a class, and they're all completely different, but you're going to teach them the exact same thing at the exact same time. And kids mature differently, they have different interests, and we have this kind of defined, rigid curriculum, and it doesn't allow them to go out and try stuff. So basically, they're being told this is what you got to do, this is what you got to do. Think about in the U.S. I'm sorry if I'm talking too quickly, but I had some of your fine coffee here to counteract the bourbon. But, I remember in high school, there were so many kids that they weren't interested in going to college. And what were their alternatives, right? Well, why not give these kids, an opportunity to learn a trade?
Mm-hmm.
Some schools do here now. I have my European friends. Switzerland, for example. You can go and learn to be a baker. You can be an electrician. You can be a plumber. You have these options. But here, it's kind of like this is the track. And I know I'm kind of rambling, but what we did with our boys for a few years is we homeschool. And then let them, what are you interested in? I want to play drums. Let's get you drum lessons. I want to play guitar. Get them guitar lessons, and I want to learn Chinese. Okay, we're going to get you a Chinese teacher. So I don't know. I didn't really answer your question. Do you think there's something like you're in the same world that I am? What do you think stifles curiosity?
I think a lot of it is, like you said, parents saying, in my generation, you did X, Y, Z, you do X, Y, Z. But like you said, the formula's changed now, right? Yeah. Like me, all my kids are grown. But if I supposed to have kids in high school now, I would actually influence them not to go to college, right? Mm-hmm. Like, okay, now if you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, army officer, yeah, you got to go to college. But if you want to be like, I don't know, a computer developer, pretty much anything else, do you really need a degree? And don't get me wrong, there's goodness in college just for the social aspect. Yeah. There's goodness for that. But the formula's changed, right? It's and if you're a college president, how do you justify the 800,000 increase in prices in the 1960s? And, can you define the purpose of college? It's just, yeah, it's like, yeah, I don't know, right? It's like, and of course, suppose your dad, suppose your parents, great parents, all back 10 generations went to University of Texas. Yeah, you probably need to go, right? Yeah. But man, it's like in this generation, the formula's changed. It's the whole world's uplifted.
It's the educational industrial complex, and let's get these kids in and get them out, and it's formulaic and it's super expensive. And again, you know that I lived overseas for 20 plus years, so I've seen a lot of different approaches to solving some of the same problems that we all face. When it comes to healthcare and when it comes to education, for example, why do we have to pay so much for education in this country when in Europe and in Asia, it's not free, it's almost free.
Yeah.
It's much more affordable. And here it's big business, man. It's big business.
I mean, YouTube University,
Yeah. Well, the Khan Academy, dude.
Oh yeah, that fucking yeah. There's a lot of free resource,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and you mentioned computer programming. Some of the best coders that I've worked with never gone to college. They were just super passionate, curious, and they started off learning about operating systems, and then they got into databases, and then they got into code, and it's just. So I think that curiosity and that passion trumps a formal education in many scenarios. I mean, there's all kinds of examples. The cliche ones are people like Bill Gates, Steve Jobs. They were successful without finishing their college education.
Yeah, and plus too, I think it's a difference too. Suppose you accepted. I don't know. I'll make the school up. Hopefully I'm making it right. Suppose you get accepted to North Dakota State Institute of Technology. Does it really matter? Maybe not. If you get accepted to Harvard, Columbia, NYU, a top-notch school, that might be something different,
I I would totally agree with you. There's some benefits for going to those schools. One is the network that you're going to have, right? And some people talk to me like I've had many people ask me, "Hey, should I get into MBA?" And I said, "What program are you looking at?" Because if you are looking at the Whartons, Stanfords, the Harvards, etc., the quality of the education is going to be world class, of course, but the network that you come away with is just amazing. Let me ask you before we get off the curiosity thing. You were in the Army for like 25 years.
Yeah.
So, how does the Army? Because to be adaptable, you need to be a creative problem solver. But at the same time, you think about the military, and I would think that they have these rules and processes, and they don't want you to be curious. So, how do they?
Yeah.
That?
So the secret in the Army is like we have rules, but no one follows the rules.
Okay.
Like I don't know if you heard the story back in World War II. The Germans said we can never beat the Americans because we know their policies back and forth. The problem is they never follow them, And the same way now, like it's like everyone. It's like it's more creative than people think, Like the Army, it doesn't get enough credit for being diverse. Like I work for people all the walks of life, Puerto Ricans, Filipinos, people from Africa, all the place. And people think, in the Army, I was like, go my pile, do as I say, right? That's my experience in the Army. Every guy I knew was like do as I do as I say, whatever. They always failed, right? As the people like, okay, I'm the boss, but let me have your input. Okay, I have your input. Thank you. Now I'm gonna do it this way, right? Yeah, it's totally collaborative from my experience, right? Now there are people. Now, of course, if you're in a battlefield, you're gonna have to say, do this right now. You're gonna die.
Right. There's no time to debate.
Yeah, there's time to debate there, but yeah, it's more open and creative than people think it is, right? Now, get me wrong. This is like now, if you're in basic training, of course, that's a different story, right? Or officer candidate school, but like a regular, it's basically like a 9-to-5 job sometimes.
Well, I think you kind of hit on one of the key, points of leadership is, hey, we got a problem here. How are we going to solve this? That collaboration. I think that's true. It doesn't matter where you're at.
Yeah, one thing I would do too when I was in the Army, actually any job I had, but if it's the Army, suppose my boss gave me a project to do. Okay, I got to do this. I have some time to do it. This person's the best person to do it. I'll go, hey, I need to do this for me, right? When can you get it done? When do you need it done, sir? No, can you get it done? Oh, I get it done suppose it's Monday, I get it done by end of Friday. Okay, cool. Now Friday comes in, got it done. Hey, dude, you told me Friday, what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So I tried to, give him much leeway as I could.
One of the toughest managers I ever had, but the best managers I ever had, he had this habit. It sounds like common sense, but he would ask exactly that. So what do you need to get it done?
Yeah.
When will it get done by? And you'd commit to a date, and then immediately he'd write it down.
Yeah.
And he would check back on
yeah.
that date.
And I always say, are you sure you can do it by this time?
Yeah.
And I would say, I remind you got this going on, this going on. Oh, this is pretty easy, sir. I can do it. Okay.
You committed. You're on the hook now.
Yeah. So I would do that, yeah. But the Army, most part creative. It's like any other job. And then, of course, you have good bosses, bad bosses,
You were started off as enlisted.
Yeah.
In the transition to an officer. Was that challenging to all of a sudden, go from to the dark side?
It wasn't, because I always had a leadership position when I was enlisted. Like, when I was at college, I was president of my university. And so, I have a pretty good personality. Like, I joke around, like, everyone likes me. But if you don't like me, you hate me, right?
Yeah.
And plus, plus being enlisted, I know how it is being enlisted, right? So I kind of, yeah. But it can be a challenge, though.
Well, as an officer, you're not supposed to be friends with people, right?
Yeah, I probably didn't do that too well.
Okay.
Yeah, because so when I had command, I got command in Italy, right? In Italy, maybe not a lot of people there. So my boss was up in Germany, right? So myself, my soldiers were and plus I did every army job I had, even as enlisted, we were I would throw Madden tournaments at our house, invite everyone over, Mark cook dinner for me, I probably should be doing that. You couldn't do it now because the army's changed, but back then, yeah, totally different, yeah.
Well, I think everybody, like I said, when it comes to your physical routines, your mental routines, or even the way your management style, you got to figure out what works for you.
Yeah, I couldn't do it now that the army's changed, but back then, yeah, I had people over the time, just having a good time eating, drinking and stuff, But the thing was, I know my soldiers defend me to death. No one could talk bad about me. And the other thing too, every metric could be measured. We finished first, right? Where it was PT, weapons, the job, any kind of metric, you always came on top, right? I had the best company. everyone in my company got rewarded for like being the best whatever they were. So it paid off.
That's awesome. You just reminded me of a book I read. It was about a naval submariner officer. I don't know if you've read this book. And he took his sub from the worst performing sub in the Pacific Fleet to the top in 2 years. And
It's not hard to do.
what he did was ask questions.
Yep.
What would you do? What would you do in this situation? Because everybody was waiting to be told what to do, and then they didn't like it,
Yeah.
But they were waiting, and he turned it around and said, "You got to tell me what you're going to do."
I did the same thing. So when I was a lieutenant, I took over for a post platoon. So my first 3 jobs were also a platoon leader, an XO, and a company commander. I lasted first in all of them, right? And for example, for the company command, I used to go through the field like this next door, right? I took them on a 5-hour convoy to Florence, Italy, right?
Wow.
Yeah, we did like patrol bases, all kind of crazy stuff, At first, like what the hell's wrong with this guy, right? We're HR people, right? But afterwards, like, yeah. And one thing I'm really proud of, like, of all my Army jobs, like 80% of the people still connect with me some kind of way on Facebook or something, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's one thing I'm really proud of.
So let me ask you this about Facebook, because I have this love-hate relationship with Facebook, and I've traveled a lot, and Facebook is like it's a way for me to keep in touch with all these people that I've met all around the world.
Yep.
But it's also a way for me to go on and just hate everybody because people are posting all this incinerating stuff.
Oh my God, yeah, I'm the same way.
Side of the aisle you're on, but do you really have to call everybody else an idiot?
Yeah.
It's like if you are red, you're an idiot, or if you're blue, you're an idiot. I don't think that's a good way to start the day.
Yeah.
It's like you might believe that, but you're not
like
making any
I don't need to know that you hate Elon Musk.
Exactly.
That adds no value to my day, right?
Right.
And probably not add any value today.
I don't mind that as much as everybody who supports Trump are idiots, or everybody who supports Biden are idiots. I mean, like, you're calling half the country idiots.
Yeah.
And like, to me, like, can we just step it down a little bit? Let's come on. Let's bring a little civility.
And what kills me, like someone will post on Facebook, if you're a supporter of whoever, go ahead and unfriend me.
Yeah, right.
Like, are you kidding me, right? Like, so.
Just because, so that's a problem I think we have these days. Is this is going to come full circle to like doing a podcast, because like I love talking to people, but one of the things that I like are people that they can be like, okay, we can talk even though we might be from different political perspectives, right? We might have different beliefs, and it's not just politics. It's like, how do you raise your children? It's like it could be a variety of things. It could be religion, whatever. But like, if we can't communicate because we have one thing different, that's sad.
Yeah, with Facebook, like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of it anymore. It's like when I Vietnam trip, I posted all my pictures on there, of course, after that. I talked to a couple of people on there, but really, it's like, I don't know, it's like almost like a dumpster juice fire, right? It's like,
and I think this shows that our kids are smarter than us, because Facebook used to be young people.
No.
Now it's all our generation. The young
Yeah.
people are on it.
It's funny, like, so I have a couple like older relatives, older people like communicate Facebook, like people younger than me, like nieces and nephews, is either TikTok or Instagram, it's like, it almost like Facebook's like this holding place. I can't delete it because I have everything on there.
That's it, right?
I have 1,000 friends from random places, if I delete it, because I don't have this guy's phone number or the case may be. Yeah.
So what I've been trying to do is just log out on my phone and on my computer.
Yeah.
During the week.
Yeah, I took it completely off my phone. I took it off my phone. I still on my laptop. That's good. I need to just log off it.
Yeah, log off. And if Tim Ferriss, again, go back him. I think it was him. He has his personal assistant change his password and not give him the new password until the weekend. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, and I use this app called Freedom, and I used it for a while, and then I just got disciplined. Basically, you tell what sites you want to be blocked from, and what hours you want to be blocked from, and it's a real productivity booster, because you can't access it, and after a while you just get trained. Like, don't even try, because you're not, Freedom's not going to let you access it unless it's an emergency. Of course, there's a workaround. But then after a while, I didn't even need the app, because it was just like it became less part of my routine.
Yeah, and I think a negative thing about Facebook too is like, it doesn't really tell you how many people look at your stuff, So you really have is someone looking at this, unless they comment on it, So, and of course, like, you can't go viral on Facebook, So like, unless you're like, I don't know, Elon Musk or Tom Cruise or, Patrick Mahomes, you're not getting no views, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're paying big bucks to do ads.
Or unless you're doing something very risque.
Yeah.
By the way, this is quite good.
Yes.
Thank you. So thank
Yeah.
you for this.
You want some more? You good? You're good? Okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
Yeah. But the one thing, I don't want to bash on tried to send a message to Mark Zuckerberg, and I said, you should let people sell their stuff to their friends, because I thought, we were doing these international moves.
So he owes you billions of dollars then.
I'm pretty sure he stole the idea from me. But the marketplace works, man. I was using Craigslist. I still use Craigslist. But my boys, he sold some stuff on Facebook Marketplace and was able to buy like used ski equipment. And I was like, okay, I had to check this out. And it's like amazing.
So speaking of Craigslist, one thing I still can't believe is that people get jobs on Craigslist.
Really?
Yeah.
I just buy and sell stuff there.
Yeah, people get jobs on there.
What kind of jobs?
Any kind of job.
Actually, you know what? It's funny you say that.
And I still can't believe it. I think of Craigslist, I think of illegal activity.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think they tried to clean that up a few years ago.
Yeah. I'm sure they did.
Well, in terms of like, the kind of jobs that were being offered.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. I think there's still people who scam people in
Yeah.
terms of, buying and selling stuff. But I recently, I told you I had to get some boat work done, or, constantly doing that. And I do most of the work myself. I needed some help. And I found a guy on Craigslist just out of the Army, diesel mechanic. And he came up to the boat and helped me, just finish up something that I just couldn't get how to do. And he's like, look, I'm going to show you how to do this. But by the way, it's a 2-person job, so you couldn't have done it by yourself.
Yeah.
Anyway. So I felt good and learned. But it was from Craigslist.
Yeah. And amazing, Craigslist has to have the worst user design of any website in the world. They make all that money. It's like, this is horrible.
Well, the UI, yeah. But I got to say, I really admire the founders. I remember, this is maybe 10, 15 years ago, they were talking to the founder. I can't remember his name now, but down in the Bay Area. And they said, why don't you go public? Why don't you go IPO? And he goes, why? He goes, look, we got 50 people working here, and we're all living a very good life.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Remember that? And he's like, if I go public, we're going to all this pressure. We got to sell ads. We got to change everything. That's not something we want to do. I was like, that's really cool. Where the vision is the vision, not making more money is the
Yeah.
vision.
Yeah. So talk about your podcast. You're doing 2 podcasts now, correct?
I'm doing 2 podcasts. And I know people are thinking like, oh God, every time somebody says, yeah, I do a couple podcasts, they're like, yeah, whatever. But I started off, was it 2017? I transitioned and I started working for a cybersecurity and compliance company called adaQuest. Shout out to adaQuest. They are a Microsoft Gold partner, and I didn't know anything about cybersecurity. I knew a bit, but I wanted to learn more. And I said, you know what? I'm going to start a podcast, and I'm just going to start talking to knowledgeable people in the industry. And it was great, because I found out that cybersecurity, you think it's just one area, but it's actually a mile wide, and then it's a mile deep in any of those different areas. And so I started doing the podcast. It's kind of intimidating, because I'd be talking to somebody like you that may be a deep subject matter expert, and I'd be like, I don't know what. But I started doing it more and more. I got more comfortable. I started learning more, so it's a great learning exercise. Promoted the company a bit, and over 4 years, I think I recorded like 140 episodes. And I don't know about how you got started, but like when I started with the name of the podcast is Secure Talk. One of the challenges was just getting guests, because they're like, how many episodes you done? They're like 3, and they're like, yeah, I'm not going to be on your podcast. But after I got up to about 50, 60 episodes, people were reaching out to me. And towards the end, I was kind of trying to throttle things down, because I was going in a different direction career-wise and interest-wise. I was getting 2 or 3 requests a week to be on Secure Talk. Ended up selling Secure Talk to actually a startup here in the Pacific Northwest. And that company took it over and has taken it. Well, the gentleman who bought it from me, Justin Beals, from StrikeGraph, shout out to StrikeGraph. He's taken the podcast to a whole nother level, because he's a deep subject matter expert, and he's just super social. So that was how I got my start. And then from doing that, I had another company that I consulted with. They had said, hey man, Mark, would you do a podcast for us? And one of the podcasts is very niche. It's targeted on the localization industry. Localization is like translate interpretation, kind of language services. And that company, MemoQ, is a software provider in that industry. So I do a podcast for them, do about 2 episodes a month. And then my newest one, the Grow Fast podcast, is just talking to sales and marketing leaders about how companies can grow their business fast, which ties into the company that I'm running as co-founder, which is BreezeDocs.
So Justin, who's actually on the podcast maybe a year ago, so I know him. And so how do you, if you can't tell me the details, just don't. But like, how do y'all figure out like the price point? Like, how do you evaluate a podcast? You say, yeah,
Sign this NDA, and I'll tell no,
yeah.
no, so I'll tell you what I did. I did it like in the totally least professional way possible. I was just swamped with things, and I didn't have the passion for secure talk anymore because I wasn't working in that space, and it was all in about breeze docs and my other areas of interest. So I posted on LinkedIn. I said, after 140 episodes in 4 years, Secure Talk is looking for a new home. And I had two CEOs reach out to me, and Justin was one of them. And they both wanted to purchase Secure Talk, and I did the deal with him. It just happened. It evolved much more quickly, and I'm glad it did because he's like I said, he's taken it to a whole other level. In terms of pricing, here's again, I'm so unprofessional when it comes to my own personal works. Right, it wasn't my a company. This was just something that I built up. I just said, look, how much time and money would it take me to record these 140
Mm-hmm.
episodes? And I put a dollar amount on that, and then I cut it down by 50,
Mm-hmm.
and then I explained it to the two people who were looking, and I said, look, this is how much it would cost you, and I'm going to cut it in half, and you don't have to do any of the work, and you're going to save all the time and money, the time, and that's how I came to the calculation. I don't want to say the exact amount, but it wasn't huge. It wasn't Joe Rogan money. Damn. But I was happy. It was a win-win.
And were you doing like any kind of monetization for the podcast before you sold it?
I've sold ads on it, stuff like that. But it's funny because I think we had a short chat just before our conversation today, and some people do a podcast because, or many people do because like, oh, I'm gonna get rich and famous. I'm gonna be the next Joe Rogan or whatever the All In podcast or something like that. Um, that's one reason to do a podcast, but I think if that's the main reason, it's going to be more challenging for you to kind of achieve that objective. I find there's some other benefits from doing a podcast. Again, one, you get to meet some really cool, interesting people, and you learn from them. You also develop a relationship with them. I mean, you sit here and talk to somebody for an hour, 2, 3 hours about them.
Mm-hmm.
You can't help but get a little bit closer with that person. And I've had people that have been on my podcast have reached out to me. This has happened multiple times. That we become friends, but they've also said, Mark, you made me think about things that I haven't really thought about in terms of my career, my personal life, and this has really had an effect. And I'm going to try to do, and it's been kind of transformative for them. And I think that for a lot of people, we go through our lives day to day, and we have these little short kind of transactional conversations, but we don't really go deep, right? And I think everybody, maybe it enjoy for the most part having like a serious conversation versus a superficial. And so you get to meet really smart people, you get to talk to them, you get to build that relationship, um, and then it can help your business because people find out what you're doing and they might reach out to you. For me, also, it helped me become a better conversationalist. I learned how to like ask questions and shut my mouth, which I'm not doing a good job of right now. But I don't know, like, do you find aside from the monetization side, that there are other benefits from doing a podcast?
Yeah, like I told you before I started a podcast, my IQ was -10. Now it's at least 110, right? So my degree of smartness has just increased so much.
If you're at 110, I got to do more podcasts. I got to up my game, man. But no, you do get smarter.
And like you said, just the personal relationships, like I have just so many people on the network from the podcast. So why do you think so many people start podcasts, but then by episode 10, they quit? I think the stats show like there's like 4 million podcasts on Apple Podcasts, but only like maybe 1 million active ones because most people do 10 and then they stop.
I think it's similar to why do people start, with the New Year's resolution and start going to the gym every day, and then by February they quit, or they start to learn a language and they do it for a month and then they quit. The idea, the romance, the allure wears off very quickly when you realize how much stuff is involved with actually doing a podcast. I mean, it's okay. You got to get the guests, and again, if you've only done 2, nobody's gonna go like, "Hey, I want to be on your podcast," right? And if they do want to be on your podcast and you've only done 2, you got to like, why? Like, wait a minute. I mean, who is this person? You got to get guests. You got to get the equipment. You got to get the setup. You got to get the time. It takes time, and then you record it all, and hopefully you didn't lose the recording because that happens too. Then you got to do the editing, and then you got to upload the audio. You got to upload the video, and the description transcriptions. It's a lot of work, right?
Yeah, and then if you want to, you got to make video clips of the podcast and post on social media, and like, yeah, it's insane. It can be a lot of work.
So how many episodes have you done?
Like around 350, I think.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So when you first started, why did you want to do it?
So when I first started, it was a way to market my company, Cabinets HR. So when I first started, it was called the Cabinets HR podcast, only 30 minutes long. And I was only talking to like HR people, right? And so I'm kind of slow. Like after 50 episodes, the light bulb went off. First of all, 30 minutes ain't long enough because I figured I'm good at asking questions, right? And none of these HR people going to buy an HR platform from me, right? So then basically, I just basically copy Joe Rogan, right? Because like I just like talking to people. I feel like people like tech people, AI people. The Mayor of Bellevue was on one time. U.S. Olympians, yeah. It's just, yeah. I just like, and people say, oh, you have to have a niche, but my niche is like long form podcast, right?
So I'm doing 2 podcasts right now, and they're both very niche and very focused on companies that I'm involved with. If I could go back or later when I have more bandwidth, I would follow your formula. It's hard to just limit my interest to this.
Yeah.
I like to talk to anybody about anything.
Yeah, when I was doing HR podcast, like the same questions all the time, but like whatever, hiring, blah, blah, blah. It got so freaking boring, right?
Can I ask you an HR related
Yeah.
question? So having been in leadership roles for several organizations, I firmly believe that one of the most important things you can do as a leader is to hire the right people, get the right people on the bus, as Jim Collins likes to say. You were in HR in the military for most of your career, right? And now you're an HR consultant. What advice or heuristics or processes can you recommend for hiring the right people, for getting the right people?
So I'm kind of different, right? Like a lot of HR people will tell like what's the word? Hire slow, fire fast. First of all, no one fires fast, right? It's always, oh, I can't fire Jason. It's his birthday or this, whatever, because no one's been the bad guy. So get over that. And a lot of people hire slow, right? Now I'm not saying like talk to someone on the phone hiring, but like, do you really need an Amazon hiring process? You do 10 interviews. Only way to know if someone's gonna work for you is to have to bring them in, right? And you got to do your background checks, due diligence. And I think a lot of people mess up. I think a lot of people like want to hire, what's the concept for values, like culture fit? These be more like culture match, right? Are their values the same as yours, right? And the other thing too, like for example, so you never know how you're gonna act around someone until you work in the right. So my first post-Army job, I was the HR manager for Trident Seafoods in Alaska, right? So I had my little office. The guy next to me, right? This guy would take out his nail clippers and clip his toenails and fingernails. It would be so loud, right? Yeah. And it was so annoying. Like I couldn't see it, but it would click, click. It was so annoying, right? So stuff like that, right?
But couldn't somebody go, okay, let's put our HR hats on or our leadership hats on. Couldn't somebody go over and say like, hey, you know what? This might not be that appropriate.
Yeah, the thing with Trident Seafoods, they're kind of loyal. So it's got to be like 20 years. And there's like unwritten rule. If you live there for like 4 or 5 years, you pretty much have to like, do something really bad to get fired, right? So, yeah.
You don't have to fire the guy, but you can just say, hey, I want to coach you on something here. Some people might not think this is appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah, but hiring, and one thing too, like pet peeve, you have all these people, I'm a hiring expert. Are you really a hiring expert? So you tell me everyone you hired was like a knockout A+ candidate job person? I don't believe that.
Show me that person, I'll show you a super successful, it's probably Elon Musk, right?
Yeah.
Like seriously, that 80% is amazing, especially for like high impact roles, right? I mean, it's tough. I can usually tell though, it's interesting. I can usually tell the first week if this person's going to work out.
Yeah.
And I can see, it comes down to curiosity, the energy that they bring, the willingness to admit that they don't know something, but ask for information, and then just try to take the lead on things as opposed to being told what to do.
Yeah.
There's probably more that I can add to that, but you get this feeling right away. You can see, do they show up early? Are they energized to learn?
Yeah. I mean, hiring's not easy, right? It's like, and thing gets me, it's like every year, like I make this number up. There's like 25 more HR tech AI startups for recruiting, right? Matter of fact, my first startup I worked in was a recruiting startup called MyUnfold. I joined right at the Army in 2015, and like nothing is solved. It's all the same, right? Nothing is solving. It's still the same problem. Like The companies, oh, there's no talent out there. People working, just give me a chance, right? It's like this disconnect.
Well, yeah, and I wonder with the big companies too, regardless of what platforms they're using, they have this formulaic approach, and people who are any bit of an outlier at all,
Yeah.
they may be a great performer, but they're like, no, it's not. Doesn't
Yeah.
get in there. So,
Or if you don't have a keyword in your resume, you don't make it,
yeah.
it's the other thing I'll say too, like I don't care how good or bad the economy is, it's never a good time to look for a job.
It's a painful process, man. It's
It's
an unemployed actor.
yeah,
So
especially if you need a
another
job, right? It's even worse,
Yeah.
It's even worse.
Well, so what advice would you give if there are any people out there who are looking for a career change, or what advice would you give to make yourself to find an opportunity and then make yourself attractive?
So this is what I tell a lot of Army veterans. Like, there's a lot of time Army veterans, they'll like transition, and they go to all these networking events with a bunch of veterans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whatever I don't care who you are, like college student, whatever the case may be, go to a network event where you're the only one, right? Like if you're a female, go to like an all male club, which I mean that's probably doesn't exist anymore. It's probably a bad example, but like go somewhere where you're the only one, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're a college student, don't go to a networking event at the University of Washington.
Right.
Go maybe go to a Rotary Club, a Chamber of Commerce, right? Go somewhere you like stick out and like, oh shit, we're at a Rotary Club, we're all like 10,000 years old. Here's a young mid-20 female. What's she doing here, right? Like make yourself the object of like, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And another thing too, like you go to a lot of networking events and you see the same people, right? Are you really networking if you're talking to the same three people all the time?
Well, it's funny because when you go to a networking event, it can be kind of intimidating if you are that odd person out that day, right? Because you'll see these little clusters of people, and they're like, oh, they all know each other, they know each other. And you know what you got to do is you got to just have thick skin and go up and say, hey, do you mind if I join your group?
Mm.
Or hey, do you mind if I listen in? Or hey, my name is Mark, and I'd like to say hi to you guys. And everybody will be receptive. But it's hard when you see people that, oh God, they all know each other, and you know that feeling?
Yeah. Another thing too, like I think a lot of people beat themselves up in the job process. For example, you apply for a job and you get to the interview, right? But you get the job. Like don't beat yourself up. That's like a victory, right? Because stats show every job, like 250 people apply. Maybe 10 will get a phone interview. Maybe 5 will get an interview, right? So you made an interview process, you beat like 245 people, right? So you're doing something right. And then it could be like, it's so subjective, right? Like example I used, suppose 2 people go to interview for a job, right? So the first person interviews, we'll say at 10 in the morning on Monday, right? There's 4 people in the panel. All 4 of them had a great weekend, right? This best weekend ever. They come to work.
That 10 o'clock person,
Yeah, happy-go-lucky, right? They're good moods. The 10 o'clock person, like, they're really not qualified for the job, right? That's barely. But, like, they're personable. He's, like, answers questions. He knows something about he knows the background of all the people in the interview panel. And, like, when he leaves, everyone's like, you know what? He's not the best technical job, but man, I could see working with him, right?
Yeah.
And so then the next interview at 2 p.m. But at lunchtime, one of the interview panels get to a wreck. Another one gets yelled at by his boss in front of everyone. And the third one finds out his mother-in-law is going to come stay with him for 2 months.
That's the worst.
So the 2 o'clock guy, he's like by far like best qualified, right?
Yeah.
Like he could actually be their bosses, right?
Yeah.
But he goes there, he's like stiff, there's like no personality, just a robot. He doesn't really know. He's like, yeah, it's just like bad, who's gonna get hired? I mean, and you gotta keep in mind too, right?
Yeah. No, it's funny. So the moral of the story is get that 10 o'clock interview.
Yeah, exactly.
Morning.
Exactly.
After the Super Bowl weekend.
I mean, it's so subjective, right? I mean, and the thing is, a lot of people they'll go on like social media. I can't believe I get this job, blah, blah. Well, just maybe there's a small possibility the guy who did get the job was more qualified than you, right? Or maybe he was the boss's cousin. I mean, you don't know.
So, I coach a lot of sales people, led a lot of sales teams, and one of the things I always say is get the meeting and get lots of meetings. Because if you get the meeting, you start to develop that, that personal rapport, that connection. Nothing, email, that is just, even video conference calls. It's a little better these days, but still, I would say get the meeting and get a lot of meetings. Because if you get a lot of meetings, if you only have one meeting this week, you're going to go to that meeting and you're going to be terrified. You're going to be like, I got to get this. You're going to have that desperation, right? It's like, and you're not going to be feeling good. You're not going to have fun. But if you got 4 meetings a day, day, and I've got 10 more for the rest of the week. So it's what, go from a position of plenty versus a position of scarcity, and yeah, just get the meetings and get a lot of them.
And of course, everyone says the best time to look for a job is when you have a job, but
Totally.
no one does that. They always wait. Oh, I got laid off yesterday. I got to look for a job now. And they try to reignite all the networks and stuff,
Oh, then you're in that desperation mode. And
Yeah.
people can smell the desperation. They're like, oh my God, why are you so eager?
Yeah. And then I think they say if you're starting a business or trying to look for jobs, you meet at least one new person a day. And of course, that's kind of tough to do, right? Is that realistic? Maybe not, but you have to do it right.
Totally. You got to get out there. I like the advice you gave earlier about going to a networking event where you're the kind of
Outlier.
outlier.
Yeah. And of course, like networking is so many different things, right? And of course, like I know in Seattle, you actually do a networking event every single day, right? But is a networking event that's going to really add value to you, right? Like, do you really need to go to a networking event for like, how to make wine, with AI? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. I don't know, right?
That's funny. I haven't seen that one. So it's funny because I as you know, started a company about a year and a half ago called BreezeDocs, and I'm a startup founder. So what do? I should go to these startup events, and what I found was that I met a lot of nice people, but I didn't get a lot of. There wasn't a lot of valuable interaction or valuable information being shared for the most part. I went to Tech Week Seattle, and I met some amazing people, and I learned a lot. So you have to you have to kind of really pick and choose, and you have to figure out what's working for you and what your objective was. I was trying to learn, I was trying to solve some problems, and I was trying to find some people to help me solve those problems. And I was also trying to meet with VCs because everybody wants to meet with the VCs, right? And Tech Week Seattle was pretty cool, and smaller, more intimate events were amazing.
Have you gone to New Tech Northwest yet?
I've gone to a couple of
Okay.
events, yeah.
I like Brett's events. I think he does a good job.
Totally.
So BreezeDocs, what is a Gen-AI-powered RFP response platform?
I don't know. So first off, you got to go with RFPs. RFPs are requests for proposals, and they're basically when the government is going to buy a certain dollar amount of products or services. When I say the government, it could be federal, state, county, city.
So you're talking about like government contracts?
Government contracts.
Okay.
When they're going to issue a contract to procure services or products, or many private enterprises above a certain dollar amount, both of them, the private sector and the government, will have to go through this process. Will have to issue an RFP, request for proposal. And what they'll do is they'll send out a document that's maybe 50, 60, 100 pages long with a bunch of questions. And they'll say, we're looking to buy this product or service. And if you're interested in selling it to us, you need to complete this document. And the document's, again, tons and tons of questions. And so that's called an RFP. And the manual, many companies, we focus on small and medium businesses, but many of the companies out there, the response process is, okay, first off, I got the RFP. Do we do this or not? Do we have a chance of winning or not? And if we do want to pursue it, who's going to complete this document? And it's a very manual, highly repetitive process because you fill out this document and you might need to include the HR people, the finance people, the product team, the security team. And they're like, I'm busy doing my job. Don't bother me. And you're like, no, but this is really important. Can you please fill out all these questions? So you fill this whole thing out, the RFP, and you send it back. And maybe you're one of 10 companies that are competing. And maybe you win and maybe you don't. So a lot of companies are afraid or reluctant to participate in RFPs because it's very time consuming. And then a month later, you'll get another RFP and you'll have very similar questions. And you'll have to ask everybody, hey guys, I need your help. And they're like, leave me alone. I just answered these same questions. They're like, yeah, but they're worded a little bit differently. And so a lot of small and medium-sized businesses out there, they just kind of give up on RFPs because they don't have the resources. And again, there's no guarantee that they're going to win, and it takes a lot of time. So what Breeze does is we take Gen-AI and we say, look, you've answered these questions before. Maybe the questions are worded a little bit differently, but we know that this question, using AI, we can say that this question is the same as this new question. When was the company created? When was the company established? That's the same thing.
Yeah.
When was the company founded? That's the same thing. but it could be something about what's your security posture in relation to email passwords or whatever it is. That can be worded in an infinitely different number of ways. AI can look at it and say, this question has been answered before, even though it was worded differently. So therefore, we know that the answer you used before can be used again, right? So Breeze will take all the questions and answers that you've used before and allow you to leverage them or reuse them. That's one part of it. Another part, imagine you have 50 pages of IT security policies, email fair use policies, acceptable use policies, device policies, what your insurance coverages are, all these kind of things. And you'll have questions related to those topics. And instead of going through document by document and searching for the answer, you just upload them to Breeze. And we use Gen-AI to go and crawl it and then find the relevant content, give that to you, and then also rewrite it for you in the right format, the right number of paragraphs, etc. So it's basically a massive productivity enhancer, which will allow a small, medium-sized business to produce an RFP or respond to an RFP in 10% of the time compared to what they would do manually. So they can cut their times responding to RFPs by about 90%.
And so do you also help like people like actually apply for government contracts?
Oh yeah. So our customers, they are using Breeze to respond to government RFPs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And you built this yourself, or?
Well, it wasn't me. No, we have a dev team. Most of them are in Hungary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're amazing. They've done some amazing stuff, and we've got some more stuff in the pipeline that we can talk about in a second. But yeah.
So how did you come to the conclusion that this was a problem you wanted to solve?
Because that's an interesting question. I mentioned before that I consult with some different companies. One of the companies I consult with, a company called MemoQ. They are a translation software provider. They asked me, hey, Mark, you're helping us with these other things here, but we find that RFPs are a big challenge for us. The company's about 100 people, and they're like, every time it comes in, it's a fire drill. We don't know who's going to handle it, and it's painful. And we do about 5 or 6 a year. And so I helped them optimize the process. But then I said, you know what, you've got this software that allows you to store answers and then reuse them. Let's try that, and it worked amazingly well. So that little hack right there allowed them to go from like 5 to 25, and then they were so happy that they did some market research and said, hey, there's some enterprise solutions out there, but we don't want to buy an enterprise solution. We want something like what you did for us here, but we want to use AI. If we invest, will you create a separate entity and then develop something using Gen-AI? And so that's how I got the role of co-founder and CEO of BreezeDocs.
So Mark, both of us saw 21 like a long time ago, right? Yeah. So why do you think like we're like kind of like so focused, energetic now, right? Most people are like, when I was in my 20s, like when I hit the 50s, man, I'll be on my porch, like it's where I can chair, but like I have so much focus in now, right? And I want to do so many things. Why do you think we haven't like turned it off, so to speak, yet?
Well, it probably has something to do with this firewall. No, I don't know. I think it goes back to that whole thing of being curious and just, God, man, I've learned so much in the last year and a half of being the CEO of a startup. People think like, oh, you're a CEO of a startup. For people on the outside, they're like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. For people who've actually done the job, it's a lot of work, man. And every day it's like whack-a-mole, but it keeps you young.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps you young and old at the same time. You feel exhausted, but it keeps you young because there's always problems to solve. And I love learning and solving problems. I don't know how to answer your question, because for me, this feeling, this emotion of wanting to do something comes naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand people who can just say, okay, I graduated and now I have my job and I'm going to do the same job, work for the same company for 34 years, and I'm going to go home and turn on Seinfeld.
And watch the same TV shows.
Yeah, and watch the reruns of the shows I've already seen even. I can't do that because, like, dude, we're on this planet for like a microsecond, and I just want to go out and have fun, And for me, this is, even though it's painful some days, it's fun, man. So how about you? Like, dude, why are you doing a podcast at your age?
Probably a glutton for punishment,
Yeah, right?
Yeah, but I'm a big believer, the more you do, the more you can do, right? I think a lot of people think, oh, I can barely do this 9-to-5 job. Well, no, the more you do, the more you can do, right? Mm-hmm. I believe that, Plus, I'm curious. I like meeting different people.
Mm-hmm. So the person I talks about, compounding interest. Everybody knows about compounding interest on money, but he believes in compounding interest on learning. And the more you learn, it gets to be the snowball effect, because what you learn starts to relate to other things that you've learned, and then all of a sudden, hey, I learned one over here and two over here, so that should be three, but no, it comes out to be five, because you can start to leverage what you've learned in certain areas, and you start to identify patterns.
Yeah. So what's the plan for Breeze Docs?
Plan for Breeze Docs is we launched our MVP, minimum viable product, in November of last year. We've got a handful of customers. We want to get up to a bigger handful, and get like a critical mass, and then we're going to go out for our next round of funding. And we've already met with some of the top VCs up on the west along the West Coast. Everybody has said, "Hey, you guys are doing a great job." There's a lot of interest. Nobody has said like, "This is we're not interested." I literally have said no, not interested. Nobody said that. What they've all said, and which is kind of makes me feel good and been pretty consistent, is platform, the concept, the market, your solution, it all makes sense. Now you need to demonstrate your go-to-market is effective. And I can tell you, the go-to-market, so you can build an amazing product or platform, but then you got to go sell it. And I thought that was my strong point, because I come from a sales background. But I'm selling software now to SMBs, and so like we're figuring it out, right? And some stuff that we're doing is
Let's get up just a little bit more.
oh, yeah, sorry about that. Some of the stuff that we're doing hasn't worked, and some of the stuff we're doing has been very effective. I mean, we're starting to, I don't want to say what's going effective, because our competitors might be watching, but we're getting traction. I mean, it's cool, and you get this feeling of it's a really rewarding feeling when you build a platform and you demo it and people start using it and they're like, "This is awesome, thank you." Thank you for solving this problem. That's one thing that makes you feel really good. The other thing that makes you feel good is when you figure out the puzzle of the go-to-market, of like, what marketing channel you're going to use, and then when you figure out what works, double down on that, triple down on that, and then start to build momentum.
Talk about the two books you wrote before, The Inside Game and Every Step of the Way, I think it's called.
Oh, well, so it's The Inside Game, How to Become a Top-Performing Salesperson, and Enjoy Every Step of the Way, because I think it's important to enjoy what you're doing. And and then I wrote another book related to sales, so that kind of broke down some more fundamental skills. So I didn't write a book to get money, because nobody makes money writing books unless you're Stephen King or Daniel Steele or somebody. I wrote a book because I wanted to kind of structure my thoughts or crystallize my thoughts on selling. I've been doing a lot of sales training and sales leadership, and writing a book helped me do that. And my premise for the first book, Inside Game, How to Become a Top-Performing Salesperson and enjoy every step of the way, was that there's two parts of sales. There are the what's going on in your brain, and then the actual physical or the sales-related skills that you externalize. So, for example, in your brain, when you go into a meeting, how are you feeling? Do you have that sense of desperation, or are you coming from a position of plenty, right? And are you going in with a plan, or are you just going to go and show up at the meeting and see how things go, right? and a lot of people do that, and they get torn up by it. And then if you walk out of the meeting and things didn't go so well, how do you respond to that? Do you look at it as a learning opportunity, or do you beat yourself up over it? So half the book focuses on the mental aspects, and half of it focuses on the actual skills that you use during the sales process.
So talk some about living in Asia. You live in like several different countries.
All over the place. Okay, so living in Asia, I would say.
And this is like either for business, vacation times, or.
I spent 22 and a half, 23 years there, living and working there.
And were you married at the time, single?
Single for the first 4 years.
Okay.
I was back and forth to the States.
Okay.
And then got married. First son was born in Hong Kong. My second son was born in Korea. Third one was born here, but then we moved to Singapore. I was very fortunate that for most of the time there I was in leadership roles, and I worked with great companies. But that's one side of it. The business side is one side. And by the way, completely different business cultures. Imagine West Coast of America, me coming in here, like dressed like this versus like, Japan, highly formal.
Yeah.
anywhere outside of America, for me, again, back to that thing of curiosity and wanting to learn, you're forced to learn. It's different languages on the street signs. The people are speaking different things. There's different formalities when you go into meetings, and I thrive on that. And again, you come in, sometimes you feel like, oh, I don't know what's going on, and I feel at a loss. But if you kind of embrace that, it's fun. So you have the language, and it's fun to learn language. I can get by, I would say, lower intermediate in Japanese, Korean, and Chinese, Mandarin, and there's nothing more enjoyable. I was in Spain. I'm rambling right now, but I was in Spain, and I went into a restaurant that was owned by Chinese, and I started speaking Chinese to them, and they were like, "What?" They kept me there. That was about 10 o'clock at night. They kept me there until 2 in the morning. They invited all their Chinese friends who owned restaurants. This is a place called Zaragoza, and we stayed up doing Chinese karaoke until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
So the language is awesome.
Yeah.
Food. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like Chinese food, Korean food, the Japanese. It's amazing, man. You know. So I loved it, all of it, as I do like going to Europe as well. But I particular affinity for Asia because I spent so much time there. What are your thoughts on Vietnam?
It's so entrepreneurial over there, right?
Yeah.
It's small business. It's like, and okay, it's a communist country, right?
Yeah.
But it's the furthest thing from a communist country. You know, like
it's the Wild West.
Yeah, it's the Wild West.
They are the real capitalists.
Yeah, everyone has a business. Everyone has a side hustle. Like everyone's selling stuff at the house. There's so much tech stuff going on there, right? It's like the focal point for tech in Asia right now. Nvidia's going there. Microsoft's going there.
They have a huge number of developers there, right?
Yeah.
A lot of American companies outsourced to Vietnam.
Yeah. They do. It's like the Wild West. Like people told me they compare Vietnam now to like Japan and Korea like 20 years ago.
Yeah. Actually, the whole story of the rise of Japan after World War II.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know, we remember when the first Japanese cars came out, little Toyota,
Yeah.
Hudson, whatever, and then now they're selling Lexuses and
I know, right? Yeah.
Tacoma Tundras or Toyota Tundras and stuff. It's like so, but then you look at Korea. Korea was the basket case in the early '60s. The Economist did a famous study. They said the next rising power after Japan was going to be the Philippines, and they put Korea at the bottom
Yeah.
of the list. It's amazing. I mean, they make semiconductors, and
They do.
ships and steel and phones and everything. And I lived in Korea for 5 years. The people they value family, they value education, they value hard work, and they are all go-getters, man. You know, and very, very, like you said, everybody's got something going on, man.
And the thing about Vietnam that amazed me, I don't know how they do it, is like everyone then, it seems like, this is generalization, but it's like everyone there works 14 hours a day, but they still have time to enjoy each other, have a good time, have coffee, have beer, and just have a good family environment. Like it's like, I don't know how they do it, right?
It's awesome. Do you notice like that? You know, it's kind of cool that you can just walk out on the street and then there's like a bar, there's a cafe, there's a bar.
Yeah, everywhere.
And you don't have to hop in your car or
No.
drive 30 minutes to meet some people and then like, hey man, I can only have one drink because I got to drive back home. It's
Nope.
like, you know, so that's one of the things I like living in Asia too. The place we lived in Japan, we lived in this amazing community, a lot of expats, but also a lot of Japanese, and you just would see all the people because you were walking everywhere, riding your bike everywhere, or you're on public transportation. So it's I would feel in many ways more cohesive.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is the drive they have, right? And of course, like you talk about speaking the language, like it's like in Vietnam, if people are 50 and above that they spoke no English, but everyone 30 below, they all spoke English, right? Yeah.
So I started to talk about that story before the podcast started. First, I went to Ho Chi Minh City. I couldn't cross the street.
The walk of death. The walk of death.
It's amazing because they don't have a crosswalk with a light, and it said like you just go.
Yeah.
And literally, I had to have 3 beers before I could cross the street, and then after like 3 days there or 4 days,
Second nature.
I was a pro, man.
Yeah, you second nature.
Explain to people like because you can't go out and stop.
No.
Motorcycles, they will run you over.
Yeah. So you have to walk if you want to get across the street, you have to walk across the street. There's no lights. Everyone goes at the same time, right? But the thing is, you go the same pace, right? Like here in America, you probably run across the street. That's the worst thing you do, right? Because when you start walking the street, all the drivers come and gauge how fast you're walking, and they like kind of generalize how to go around you, right?
Yeah.
Like I was there maybe a total of 100 days. I've been to Vietnam twice, total 100 days. I never saw an accident. Here where we live, you see at least one accident a day on I-5.
Yeah. No, you described it stop, they get confused.
Yeah.
You just keep going, and then they factor in your pace and direction and go around you.
And also works because like here in the States, you might be somewhere, one car's going 45, one going 20. They're all pretty much going around 20 miles an hour, right? No one's going too fast, too slow. So it's all like an even pace. It's somehow it works, right?
Do you ever ride the motorcycle taxis?
I did all the time. Yeah, I did all the time. Yeah. Back to the, I'm like, yeah. So I before I got there, I said, man, I'll never do that, right? I'm not insane, right? I always catch a grab car, right? So one time I had a meeting somewhere, I had a really kind of important meeting. And I guess by accident, I go out to the grab bike. Like, fuck. Either I wait for a car and miss a meeting, I get in the back of the grab bike. So I got a grab bike. Oh my God, I'm going to die. But then, okay, I didn't die.
No, because they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they don't want to die either. Right?
No,
Yeah.
No, it's a lot of fun, yeah. And Hudson City's so big. Like, I think they say officially 13 million people. That's the estimate is more like 20 million people there, you know. And talk about having FOMO, right? There's always something 24/7 to do. Yeah.
It's also, and one thing that I also take away from my years in Asia, whether again it's Hong Kong, Singapore, Japan, Korea, whatever. I'm not trying to drop names, but I'm just saying across all of those countries, people live in general pretty humble lives.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have a lot of possessions because they have small homes. Most of them people live in apartments, and most people they value education, they value family, they value hard work, and it's nice. I like that. And most of the places I've been in Asia are relatively safe.
Oh, I never felt so safe. I'd be some random place, like 3, 4 in the morning, like just drunk as whatever, some random alleyway. I think to myself, this is America, I'd be fucked right now. This is America, I'd be.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's the crazy thing.
And I felt so safe there.
I sound like there are certain areas in Seattle where if it's 9 o'clock or later at night, you don't want to be there.
No.
You're like one of these places right out here, right?
I know, right? So another funny story, right? So I met this one guy, Will James. He's from Canada, been there for 10 years. He does a marketing business. And we hung out a few times, and he had like a Vietnamese girlfriend. And he was like, Jason, hey, I'm going to spend a couple of days at my girlfriend's parents' house. They have a little small farm by the Cambodian border. You want to come? And he's like, see, we're over. And I'm like, yeah, I'll go. Now, just one, like, this ain't Hudson City, not a bunch of advanced stuff, you know. It's like a small farm, like basically, like thinking of my small, simple Vietnam farm folk. Okay, no problem. I got it. I'll go. So I go there, right? The parents own like one of the biggest rubber tree farms in Vietnam.
Wow.
Like, dude, this ain't a small farm. I'm at the house. Okay, the house is small and modest. But yeah,
A lot of rubber trees.
yeah, there's a lot of damn rubber trees. He had like 30, 40 people working for him. Yeah.
What do they do? Did you ask like how do you raise rubber trees?
You just, I think they've had like in their family like 2 or 3 generations. I think it said like if you plant a rubber tree, it takes 5 years for you to actually use it, you know. So, but they have like rubber trees everywhere, right? He's probably just like back collecting money now, right?
Yeah. Now Vietnam's got an amazing history too, because a lot of people there, the older generation probably speak French.
Yeah. Yeah, I was crazy. I was kind of thrown off by how big a French influence is. Another thing that kind of surprised me too is like they love Americans, right?
You would think the opposite.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
We fought a war. Anyway, we didn't want to go down, but obviously we're there.
Yeah.
A lot of people died.
Yeah.
You know. And go ahead.
They love Americans. Yeah. Like you walking down the street, you from America? Come talk to me. Come have a coffee with me, right? Yeah.
Well, it's funny because I lived in Taiwan, China all the time. Taiwan and America obviously very close because we're allies. But even in China, most people, governments and the politicians would have us, or the media would have us believe that there's like people don't like us or whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm trying to think. I can't remember meeting anybody in China that wasn't friendly or nice
Yeah.
to Americans. I won't say that. Oh, we love America, but everybody was nice.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of people that were just super friendly. They didn't care. And I would ask people, like sort of political like questions, like what are your views on this? And they're like, we don't care, man. Dude, we just want to do our job. We want to make
Yeah.
money. Number one thing the Chinese people want to do is buy a house.
Yeah.
Same as here, right? It's like
So in Vietnam, I became good friends again with Hadi, Hidi. Dudes from Iran, right? We'll hang out. I said, dude, we're not supposed to be drinking, right? But we're supposed to be like each other's enemies, right? He said, yeah, I know, right?
Well, he's from Iran. He's not supposed to be drinking.
Yeah, well, that's true too. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't mention that. Yeah.
I think most people are just people.
Yeah.
So that's another takeaway from traveling. Most people are just people.
So, Breeze Docs, who's like your lack of ability, your perfect customer, like your target market, so to speak?
Any company that, I mean, we're targeting SMBs, so small medium businesses, but these are companies from solopreneurs up to 100, 150 people who want to participate in more RFPs, win more business from the government, or win more business from enterprise and they're struggling with that RFP process. We can automate it, and we can make your answers more attractive, competitive, and reduce your workload by 90%. Which means you can go from doing a couple RFPs a year to doing 20 RFPs a year with no additional resources. You could also, if you're having trouble with sales enablement, so imagine that you're on a phone because a phone call with a customer and they ask you, oh, do you have ISO 27001? And you have a new salesperson and they're like, I'm not sure. They can just put in Breeze because we have a global search, and then it will pull up all the relevant documents and actually rewrite and form an answer for them to respond to. Yeah.
So from your point of view, how does Breeze make it, whatever making it means to you?
How does Breeze make it? You mean what would, like 3 years, 5 years
Yeah.
down the road, what does it want to be? I would love that Breeze is on the desktop of every sales-related person working for an SMB. Like, let's say we're in 70, 80% of the SMBs across America. Helping them respond to RFPs, helping them with sales onboarding and training, helping them with sales enablement, and also that collaboration piece inside the company of sharing company information. I mean, it's funny. Like, you've worked in large organizations, and if you can share information in a frictionless between people, but also between I've got a bunch of documents and I need to get the information out of there in a usable manner. If you can do that, which we do using Gen-AI and LLMs, large language models, that's pretty cool, right? But those resources used to only be available for like large enterprises because they could drop $100,000 a year. Breeze is like, for a fraction of that, we can empower you to compete with the big companies.
So how do you decide what to do on a day-to-day basis? Do you have a calendar you follow? Do you like to just wing it, or what's your method?
So I'm old school. You see, I have a pen and paper here. I have a to-do list, and I use that. And I find the act of writing things down and having my to-do list helps me. I also sometimes I'll wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and I can't sleep, and so I'll get up. And if I just sit there in bed and think about it, it doesn't work. So I get up and I write stuff down. And so I have my to-do list. I also have like you said, my morning routine. I have my to-do list. Then everybody has ad hoc stuff that comes in. The ad hoc stuff typically is low value, but it sucks away so much of your time and attention. So what I try to do is focus on the to-dos, the things that I must get done, and then I schedule time for the ad hoc. Because if you just spend all your time responding to emails, you're not going to get the to-do list done. And what makes me feel good is I do my morning routine. I've invested myself for the day, and then I get as many of my to-dos done. And if by noon I've already taken care of like 8 items on a 10-item list, then I feel good. And then the rest of the day I can respond to the ad hoc stuff.
And are you working like 7 days a week, 10 hours a day? How do you do that?
I don't even think of it that way. I work definitely Monday through Friday. I pretty much all day, but I do schedule some time for myself, right? In the afternoon, I might want to go take off for 2 hours or something like that. It's whenever I have time and energy, then I'm aside from those 8 hours, then I'm back on it. So like I know that tomorrow morning's Sunday. I know that I'm going to get up and I'm going to go to Starbucks and I'll work for 2 hours. Why work on a Sunday? Because my mind is clear, I'm fresh, and I'm going to get a lot of stuff done. And that way, when I start on Monday morning, I don't like to go into Monday morning having not been engaged for a couple days, because then I get like this anxiety feeling, right? So so that's what I do.
So
How about you? I'm curious, like, because I mean you're doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You're doing consultancy, you're doing these podcasts, which takes a lot of work. Do you have a schedule?
I have like a master schedule, like I use like on Monday I'm supposed to do this. It's more like a guideline, right? I pretty much like I don't wing it, but I kind of wing it, right? Like I work at different things, and like if I get tired, I take a break. If I'm hungry, I go eat, right? So I really have a set schedule. somehow it's just worked out this way. I don't know how, but usually I like take off half day Thursday, half day Friday for myself just to do different things. First of all, it's a whole lot easier doing errands on Thursday when there's no one at Costco or like places, you know. Saturday is an all day. Sunday's all day for me just because I do most of my podcast stuff these 2 days, right? But yeah, I have like a templated schedule I try to follow. Like this time on this day, do go to market. This time this day, go to product roadmap. You know, I try to stick to that as best I can.
Yeah, I agree. It's not agree or disagree. I'm similar to you. I think there is some value though of not doing. I mean, I think you started off saying like, are you doing it 10 hours a day, 7 days a week? I think that almost can be for me counterproductive because you get to the point of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
And I also think there's some value in changing it up to let your brain focus on other things because a lot of times your brain is all focused on solving this problem. You can't do it. But if you go over here, start thinking about this, your brain's going to solve this problem.
Yeah.
It'll come back to it. That's the way my brain works anyway. And I know there's some really much smarter people than me, like the guy who discovered the source of the Nile, Sir Richard Francis Burton, not the actor, the explorer. He had this thing where he would go 15 minutes on a project. He had a study with like 10 desks, and he would go 15 minutes to this desk, 15 minutes to this one, and just go, and that's how he'd spend his day. Completely different projects, but he would like super intensive on this, and then go to the next one, next one.
Suppose that's what Elon Musk does. Supposedly,
Really?
yeah.
With all the stuff that he's got going on, that's what he must do. How did he go from like PayPal to like okay, electric cars to like rockets that can reland?
Mm-hmm. Putting chips in our brains.
Yeah, what's that, Neuralink?
Yeah.
And then the Boring Company, and then
The flame. Remember the flamethrower company?
Yeah. And then they're gonna do the hyperloop that's gonna get you from LA to New York in 90 minutes or something
Yeah.
like that. But like some of the stuff that he comes up with, because he has this engineering mind. You know, there's you know the Salton Sea down in outside of LA. Well, if it's inland from LA over Palm Springs, it's this huge lake that has dried up, and he's talking about you know what? Because it's a saltwater lake.
Mm.
Why don't we just build a tunnel from the Pacific Ocean and fill it back up? Because
Yeah.
there was all these resorts that used to be built around there. They can't be used anymore because the water line has gone down like 120 feet. And he's just like, just put your engineering hat on and solve that problem.
Yeah. 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 I know he uses first principles and stuff. So, can you talk about any of your mentors? If you have any mentors?
Yeah. So, I think we live in this amazing time where you can have both real mentors, like when I say real, like people. And then you can have like virtual ones that you can go through books or online or things like that. And so I try to one of my bosses, actually a couple of bosses that I've had in the past, but there's one in particular. This guy, what I learned from him is listen to people and don't get emotional. I would see him handle the worst situations and just be like, so what do we learn from this? We're gonna do it again. I'm talking like fire drill, terrible situations, and I'd be like, and he's just like, okay, so did we learn something? And that, when you see people actually, modeling that behavior, it makes it. I'm learning from that. I'm gonna do that, right? Not that I always do. And then, if I get stuck on something, it's somebody I can go to and ask. But I would say more than that, my mentors have been the books that I read. I mean, there's some you could read Marcus Aurelius, man, and take away some stuff there and say like, I'm really stressed. What did the Emperor of Rome do on a stressful day, right? Because I'm sure his days were much more stressful than mine, right? I mean, and he's like, we're all just gonna die, and this means nothing. Nobody's gonna remember us, so don't get stressed about it, So I go to books a lot. I've been Naval Ravikant many times on this podcast, but he's a guy I've read his book. I don't know, close to 10 times.
And are you actively fundraising right now? No. Okay.
We're prepping to. So
Okay.
We've had the initial conversations, and basically it's pretty clear what we need to do. We need to demonstrate that we have a repeatable process to get more customers and then get them engaged. What they're looking at is how many customers do you have? What's the process for getting them? Is that repeatable? And how engaged are the big question is like how many of your customers would be so angry if they couldn't access Breeze Docs?
Yeah.
And if you say 90% of them or 100% of them, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think last year the stats showed like fundraising like was historically low, right? No one's giving out money, right? From what you've seen so far, do you think that's going to change in 2025?
I have no idea. I mean, you know, look how this year started off with the with our new president.
Yeah.
And what's going on, and you know, and then yesterday what happened at the White House.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. I'm not going to predict.
Definitely uncharted territory.
Right, and I can't, in my personal opinion, I can't be bothered by all those macro factors.
Yeah.
I just need to focus on what I can control and what I can manage. Everything else is just like a waste of emotion and a waste of mental bandwidth, in my opinion.
Mm. So you already talked about Breeze Docs some, but can you go in more detail, like how the company got started, what you're focused on now, what the future is for Breeze Docs?
Okay, so again, we helped a company solve a problem, which was they didn't have a process or a tool to respond to RFPs. There were some enterprise tools out there, way too expensive for this company because they were small, medium-sized business. So we put together a platform that allows companies to leverage past or previously used answers to RFP questionnaires, or to go through all of their company the documents and create answers and respond to the questionnaires. It also is collaborative and allows you to assign questions to different subject matter experts in your company, bring all those questions or those answers together, and then complete the questionnaire in a fraction of the time that it would normally take to do it manually. What's next for us? More customers. Our next module will be the sales enablement, sales onboarding, and then we're about 2 months away from solving the holy grail of RFPs. Half the RFPs out there, roughly half, are that question and answer format. Okay, that's not that complex to solve for. There are other platforms out there that do that. They're again mostly enterprise solutions. We're targeting a little bit different market. But the challenge is that half the RFPs are, here are the requirements for this product or service, your solution. Now, how do you do that? Okay, and what we're doing is, again, looking at the requirements and then matching that with your company's capabilities, and then being able to create a draft proposal that you can then go on, share with your internal subject matter experts, fine-tune it, and then send it off. Those proposals are super complex and time-consuming, and it's really hard. It's been challenging for most of the companies in this space to solve that problem. The open-ended RFPs, we're literally 2 months away. We can do it right now, but the quality of the response is at about 60%. We think we'll be about 90% in about 2 months, and that's the holy grail. And then regardless of how many customers we have, we can go back out to market if we want to offer funding, because we've got something that nobody else has.
So how did you come up with your pricing model? Like, how did you figure that out? Was this just a matter of testing different versions out, or how did you decide on the model you have right now, the pricing you have now?
I don't know. We just threw some darts.
And that's what most people do, right?
So what we did is, again, we looked at what the competition was at, and we looked at what our target market, the SMB market, could afford, or what would scare them away, what wouldn't scare them away, what would entice them, get them on board with Breeze, and allow us to add additional services. I mean, if you look at the HubSpot model, you get in HubSpot, you can get almost practically for free. But guess what? There's always one more thing that you want to add on. It's like a sailboat.
Yeah.
You always want a boat that's like 2 feet bigger, right? And it's the same with software. Can we get this additional feature or function? We don't really want to do that model, but we want to figure out what's the target that will allow us to get in there. And then we have to look at also what our costs are, right? And so we have to cover our costs, right? And costs are the development costs and then sales and marketing costs, essentially. And so that's how we came up with it. And our costs are, they're on our website. We're very reasonable. It's funny because we're not a big team, but we have a lot of conversations. And I said that we are the fastest, easiest, and lowest cost way for SMBs to respond to RFPs. budget smart. I was like, okay, guys, I don't care. Just whatever.
Budget smart. That's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Some people, they hear like cheapest cost, they do have like a negative connotation sometimes. Yeah.
I say cheap. I said lowest cost.
Yeah.
But you're right. You're right.
So is there anything else that I asked you that I haven't asked you? Anything else you want to talk about?
I don't know. I think we covered most of the stuff, man. This has been really enjoyable, and I've enjoyed talking with you. You've got a lot of great experience, and
Thanks. Can you share your social media links or ways for people to reach out to you?
I'm on LinkedIn, Mark Schreiner, MarkShriner, on LinkedIn, and BreezeDocs is Breeze BreezeDocs.ai.
And I'm guessing it's because it's a breeze to use.
It's a breeze to use.
Before we get out here, you told us a lot of great stuff, but can you give us any last minute wisdom or advice on anything you want to talk about?
I think I'm the last person in the world to give anybody advice or share wisdom, but if I think that's what's worked for me, and if I could kind of draw on a theme of many of our threads in this conversation, is always be curious, always be learning, always be exercising those mental, physical, and spiritual muscles.
Mark, thanks for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jason.
And to listeners,